Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now, Oso Easy Roses are one of the group of roses that came out of the idea that we want roses that will be disease-resistant, hardy, long-blooming, etc. In other words, a good rose for the landscape. And they have done amazing things with the breeding of these. First of all, it's extremely hardy, this series. It's USDA Zone 3, so that makes them very, very hardy. So most of Canada could grow these roses. They have a dark green glossy foliage. They have good disease resistance. They're fairly tidy. In other words, they don't get out of hand. They do like, though, a sunny location. So we're looking at a long-blooming rose, disease-resistant, very hardy, that has a tidy habit. In other words, great roses for the home landscape. And one of the great things about this is that means that, like in Ontario, where you don't have the pesticides to go and look after diseased roses, that it will make it a little easier to garden and actually have roses blooming in your garden and have them bloom for a long period of time. So the Oso Easy Roses can be added to the list of plants that you can use to give you a little variety, color, and still have roses in the landscape. Now, there's a lot of them, so we're going to run through them. We'll let you choose, so you're going to need a pen and a piece of paper, because by the time I'm finished, your head will be spinning. There is that many good ones that have actually been proven, and I'll let you know which ones are fairly new as well. So let's start with cherry pie, one of my favorite desserts. Okay, Oso Easy Cherry Pie is a cherry red flowers. They've got the bright yellow stamens in the center, so that means it is basically 5-petaled, and that means it's open-faced. It's a summer rebloomer. It's going to be 2 to 4 feet in height and width and hardy to zone 4. Okay, so there's a good one for you. Again, full sun. And then there's Oso Easy Double Red. This one is not as red as the cherry pie. It's more of a rose with bright red. It's double, which means that you've got extra petals. The foliage is a dark disease resistant. It's got a nice round habit to it, and the flowers are held well above the foliage, which makes it a good display rose. 3 to 4 feet, hardy to zone 4. Now here's one of the new ones. It's called Hot Paprika. So it's Oso Easy Hot Paprika. And it is a paprika rose. Now that means it's more like the color, right? And it has the sort of same shape and performance and disease resistance as the others. But the flowers are fairly dark orange to a vivid salmon. Well, it's a little different. It's only 1 to 2 feet tall, and it's hardy to zone 3, making it quite controllable in your garden. Italian ice. Now, Italian ice is one of the interesting ones. It's one that sort of turned my crank because I like the way it's done and the coloring on it. It's an electric orange buds that open to a soft yellow flowers, and the petals melt into a pink blush at the margins. So it's sort of like the peace-like rose, but also much smaller roses. We're looking at dark green glossy foliage, semi-double, and self-cleaning, which means it drops all its petals and it doesn't need to be as much in the way of deadheading. It has around 24 to 30 petals per bloom, which is not bad at all. Hardy to zone 4, and it's 1.5 to 2.5 feet and a summer rebloomer. Very good. Lemon zest if you're looking for a good yellow. Now, yellow roses are very hard to get. They are not that strong. They often do not live long. They do not last long. The flowers have a tendency to fade as well. So this one is actually quite good. It's a sunny canary yellow. It doesn't fade to white. It's free-flowering, self-cleaning, with high disease resistance. And it is a good yellow. And that's important. It earned the ARS Award of Excellence in the no spray category in 2016. Now, a yellow that's disease resistant, that's really even harder to get. So this one would be a rose, if you're looking for yellow, to consider. It's 2 to 3 feet in height and diameter, and it's a summer rebloomer. Now, the next one is mango salsa. Now, mango salsa has a continuous bloom. It's got great color. It's sort of shades of ruby red grapefruit, summer sunsets, tropical drinks, and with different types of umbrellas in them. They cover a large area of tones within the actual flower. It's a semi-double, so you will see a bit of the yellow in the center. It has the dark green glossy foliage. It's a mound in shape, which means it's fairly neat. And I don't mean neat as in cool, I mean neat in as in habit. 2 to 3 feet and a summer rebloomer, so it might be one that you're going to take a look at. Now, there's also paprika. Now, paprika, as opposed to the hot paprika, has the hardiness. It has the orange blossoms. It's got the yellow centered eye, so it is more open than hot paprika. So it has a few less petals. Okay. It has won great awards and is considered one of the best ground cover roses, which is excellent. 1 to 2 feet in height, summer rebloomer. One of the nice things is that if it is a tried and true rose, then it means that it's going to be quite disease resistant, ground cover type rose, and that's good. Okay? In other words, you could do a drift of these in your yard and have them rebloom on a regular basis throughout the summer and on plants that are 1 to 2 feet in height and diameter. Then there's Oso Easy Peachy Cream Rose. Now, this one is a little more sophisticated. I call this one that because of it's peachy, it's a pale, it's gorgeous color. Okay? Now, it's a low mound rose. Its blooms emerge peach and transform to cream. The large double flowers are self-cleaning, and it is one of the better roses because of all of that as well. It's going to be 1 to 3 feet. It's hardy to zone 3. So it's hardy and reblooms in the summer. Pink Cupcake. I love the name. This Oso Easy Rose has extra large, extra full flowers. It's got great glossy green foliage, so this pink stands out against that foliage so nicely. The foliage is clean and disease resistant. It has reddish new growth, which fades, of course, down into the nice darker green. It has at least 20 petals on each flower, and it is considered one of the better roses and has won awards of merit. It's a summer bloomer on a 2 to 4 foot plant, hardy to zone 4. Urban legend. This one is a big hit in California. Now, whether or not this one is going to be popular other than California, who knows? It's a double scarlet flowers. It's got the cherry yellow stamens in the middle. It always blooms through the season. It's got a high resistance to foliage and disease. And as such, it's one of the best of the no-spray trials. That's a good thing. 2.5 to 3 feet in height and width, rebloomer, on hardy to zone 4. It's one I think you should take a look at as well. Now, there is a couple more of the Oso Easies. Let's just go with Candy O. Happy Candy O. It's an Oso Easy Rose. It's a good landscape rose. It's got large sprays of candy apple red flowers. It's more of a polyantha hybrid. If you remember those, if you're old enough to remember those, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's got a dense mounding habit. It's similar in shape to Robin Hood. It has exceptional hardiness and disease resistance. It's 3 to 4 feet, hardy to zone 4, and a summer rebloomer. Also, a happy Petite pink. You'll like this one if you want a little more bubblegum pink flowers that are in sprays. It has small green leaves. This one will remind you of miniature roses. So if you're into miniature roses, you may want to consider this one. It is very similar in sort of look to the fairy. For those of you who know, the fairy is one of the most popular and probably one of the most widely grown pink rose shrubs in the world. And that's how good it is. Unfortunately, it is a one of a kind. Now, it is going to be 2.5 to 3.5 feet in height and diameter and hardy to zone 4. So it's pretty big. And it has won many awards, including the Award of Excellence from the American Rose Society. So that sort of says an awful lot. So it's a refined mound, strong continuous bloom, exceptional disease resistance. It's considered a shrub or a perennial border rose. So it's something you should look at for your garden. Also happy Petite pink rose. Also happy Smoothie. It almost makes me hungry. Now, this one is a little different in the fact that it's thornless, which means it's great for landscaping around pools where people are more, let's say, skin exposed. So it's also better in playgrounds and also along walkways where traffic and people can go. They won't snag themselves on it. And it is also a good cut rose or cut flower rose. Blooms continuously from June to frost in sprays. They're pink and white flowers, disease resistance, and very winter hardy as well. Hardy to zone 4. It's about 3 feet and it's a summer rebloomer. Of all the Oso roses, it's the best for cutting. So that's something you should consider. Living La Vida, I want to say the rest of it, but it is Living La Vida. And it's considered in this one, but it doesn't have the Oso in front of it. It's a flamingo pink flowers, glossy dark green foliage, continual blooming, and the full blooms with a very high petal count, compact, upright growth, and good branching. Now this makes it an excellent container plant because of the upright habit, with lots of appeal. Okay, so hardy to zone 5 only, 2.5 to 3 foot summer rebloomer. You may want to try that one as well. So there you go, some of the great landscape roses you're going to see in your garden centers this coming spring. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.